ABBA 2. September 7, 2018. ABBA is present in each one. And from the heart of hearts, I greet the joy that you are beyond every person. At this moment, as in every moment, which does not depend on a linear time, or even on your presence anymore. I am the witness in you, beyond the person, who can only speak the languages of silence, bliss, and joy, not depending on anything, other than this moment. Then, from your center, as well as beyond all forms and thoughts, I reveal joy, not by any action or word, but simply by the evidence of the present moment, where nothing can subsist beyond the wholeness and nothingness. There, where there is no qualification or understanding, it is the lightness of the moment that reproduces itself in each breath, thus, and definitively, releasing joy, independently of any cause or person. Therefore, it spreads all throughout the space of this body and world. There, where only joy is present, it is only you, beyond all boundaries and density, so that what has always been there can only remain, and from now on and beyond all being, not even the illusory body, or this dream that you live, can hide what is, has always been, and will always be. Furthermore, joy is in each breath, glance, pain, or rejoicing. The bliss of joy is simply everywhere, and it cannot depend on anything, nor on yourselves, this body, or any consciousness. Silence. Then, from the heart of hearts, I impulse myself without moving at all, so that in this rhythm, which is the spontaneous movement of the heart and love, while simultaneously, it is the no movement of either, joy can touch and consume all remains of heaviness and sorrow. This may allow each one of you to rediscover lightness and innocence, prior to all Alpha and after all Omega, where you rejoice without relying on any external joy. Wherever you are, I accompany you, simply becoming you, in the same way that you become me, giving you the illusion of something that has been reborn and yet, it has never moved. I invite you to let the unknown appear through all that you are, and always were, in whatever you say and, whether you live it or not, and this is not for tomorrow, nor is behind, it happens immediately, as soon as you are in silence. It also happens in each and every moment in front of your eyes, even in any exterior view of the illusion of this world, as of all worlds, can only refer and take you to the evidence, and it is this evidence that allows you to recognize who you are, beyond being, and where nothing can be described. There, nothing moves, and yet, all creation as well, as all dreams, are contained. This is how suffering withers and love allows the wonders of silence to flourish in your eyes and in your mouth. In that place where I express myself in you, there is no need for help, nor for any future or past. And from there I dance in you. It does not matter what name you give me, or what you imagine, whatever you think and feel, does not matter either, because you are well above all manifestation. You never left the uncreated, even though, this is not a place and yet, it is all places, in fact, you are the uncreated. And I address myself from this point, which can only be in you, as in each one of you, because there is only one place manifesting the evidence of joy in all of you at the same time, because you are one. Thus, the perception of the existence of you and the other, disappears, and the evidence revealed, takes you to see and live, what have seemed to be absent, what you have felt or thought that could have been missing. Nevertheless, nothing may ever be missed, ever again. It only depends on you, to meet me wherever I am with you, wherever I am you, from all eternity, as in every world, form, dream, or whatever that may be, because ultimately, there has never been a place to meet, as neither has existed you or I. And this puts an end to all opposition and contradiction, only leaving what is naked and what is prior or subsequent, to everything that is creation. Consequently, saturating you with happiness, the true evidence of joy, while reinforcing the lightness, in any density, as you have been told, and this is lived in every moment, as soon as you are present. Then, absence comes to magnify every presence, whatever it may be, from one to the other, in the same equality, where nothing can be separated, or even observed. Thus, joy goes even through this body, as it does, through every corner of this world. Thus, the intelligence of light, which is beyond what is enlightened, illuminates the emptiness, without needing light, or proofs of any kind, for whatever, or whoever it may be, beyond all state, as of all what appears. Let this nudity appear and let yourself live and breathe, by and for the rhythm of life, as to its origin. The rhythm of the dance, inscribed in the immobility, puts an end to all search of the consciousness, as well as an end to every dream, and all nightmares. This is the bliss of joy, which does not depend on any condition of this world or any world. It does not depend on any presence seen from the outside either. This is the presence of love. This is the vivacity of joy. Then, from that moment, with your own eyes that observe both inside and outside, of what you had believed to be you, you will definitely prove that there is nothing to observe, if it is not the great silence, and nothing to live, if it is not life. Right at that moment, you realize that life itself does not depend on any path, condition, framework, or freedom. Therefore, calm can only fill the gaps of what seemed lack or suffering, anywhere in your thoughts, body, or consciousness. Then, in the heart of bliss, which is much more than peace, yet, simply the materialization of naked happiness, everything and nothing passes through you, as well as through the whole world. You do not need any more help or certainty at this point. There, everything is evident and becomes evidence, regardless of what you live, in the bosom of the dream. Silence. This is how freedom is not a concept, hope, or an idea. And this is how true love, which cannot be named, or compared to anything known, world or manifestation, is in you. You are love, and thus, you free yourself, from what you believed to be and that, nevertheless, has happened, and will pass. Joy is the eternal self, and it has nothing to do with anything or any law, because nothing is missing. The eternal self has nothing to acquire or defend, because there is only silence, and the magnificence yet simplicity, of silence, is translated in your body, through the rhythm of love, which does not depend on you, nor on your heartbeat. As a matter of fact, it does not depend on any circumstance or state. There, nothing shines, and yet, everything is clear and transparent. Silence. Then, what I still call with you, the last presence, or the abode of supreme peace, because we have to name what is nameless, can only be an attempt to transcribe the beauty of the ineffable within our expression in this world. Nonetheless, and regardless of how poor any attempt to describe the unknown may be, you know indeed, and beyond anything, that there is nothing to prove, either in you or elsewhere. I called this the great silence, the dance of evidence, where there is no need for anything else. Even my words do not represent anything, however, it is the rhythm, silence, and intensity between each word, where the heart of hearts is recognized, where you recognize yourself, even independently of your heart, because it is everywhere in each one, as in each event, day, night, or dream. This is equivalent to telling you that, whatever you think or do, only that remains, so that nothing else happens and the evidence remains. Silence. I am not your guide, I am not a god, I am nothing. And by proclaiming it, because you live it, then, nothing else can resist or suffer, beyond all consciousness as of all idea. It is in the evidence revealed in the heart of hearts, that you consecrate yourself, to what you are, restoring yourself, beyond freedom and bliss, and where you cannot find qualifiers or nuances. Where there is evidence, nothing is necessary because everything is present, beyond everyone, and nobody can stay in any identification whatsoever, because each one of you live it. You are the day that rises and the world that is created, you are the enemy, just as you are the friend, and none of them can ever displace you. Silence. Remember that you do not need to find me or look for me, because this evidence has always been there, and it is lived by everyone at this very moment. Anyone is now capable of finding or manifesting the greatest beauty, because what you are is beyond your own presence or absence, conjugated at all times, in every place and space, as well as through the person, every person, all creation, universe, and multiverse. You are filled up with evidence, and whatever the apparent emptiness of this world or your life may be, it has only been a pretext to live it. Then, you will smile, if you are not already smiling, and this smile is nothing but forgiveness, which you give yourself, because that is how you give yourself. Then, what has apparently existed has no place to be anymore, because you are free from everything that could affect you, regardless of the circumstances in which you may be living. In fact, at this moment, the question of being and non-being is no longer asked. There is no need for help, nor there is a need for consciousness, because you are prior to everything that emerges everywhere, in any dream of creation, where nothing has evolved, because there is no evolution needed. What you are is always perfect, beyond being. Therefore, I can only rhythm with the breath of your heart, with these few words, which are very poor compared to the silence in between my words. This ultimate silence is what tells you the truth of what you are, and it does not depend either on you, me, or on any world. In evidence, silence is everything, leaving no space for gravity, while all suffering is consumed by joy. Silence. This is how you install yourself within the essence of who you are, beyond any frame and all limits, because you cannot limit, in any way, the absolute truth. And in this, as you know, there is no knowledge or form in this great emptiness, which is the very perfection of love and not of emptiness itself, before all manifestation, before light. This can also be translated as an invitation to yourself, to the banquet that does not need silverware or a table. This banquet cannot be stopped. Time is abolished as soon as you live it and let it be, because you cannot fool yourself anymore by any element that is manifested inside or outside. Then, the same interior or exterior look, will cross all appearance, and it is already crossing it, in order not to be deceived anymore, by any form, movement, or color whatsoever, and from that point forward, you know that everything is already there, as it has always been, in an indelible and true way, celebrating whatever is celebrated. Then, it is crystal clear that only lightness will resolve all sweetness, like all pain. Therefore, from this moment, I am with you, because I am you and you are me, yet, much more than that, we are each other and nobody, at the same time, beyond all identity, reference, or frame. There, no word can disturb or displace what has actually been there, even if you had not seen it, or imagined it. Then, I address you, pilgrim of eternity, whatever your path may be, here or elsewhere. Remember that you are prior to all progress, and that every pilgrimage exists to return you, to where you never moved and never doubted. Silence. There, you do not need to utter any words, or even cling to any idea or concept whatsoever, because this is really the evidence, where only the smile is the witness, as well as naked joy in this world. This evidence is what has also been described as the unique radiance of your gaze, which does not depend on you, or any circumstance. Evidence is everywhere, and you shine without even perceiving this ineffable that you are. This is available to everyone, even to those who, in appearance, may seem far from it, because nobody is near or far from the evidence. As a matter of fact, everything and everybody is evidence. So, your goodness, gaze and words, go through every apparent obstacle, because from now on, nothing can stop, even in this world, the emanation of love, this absolute that you are. You cannot deny it because you live it, you will never be able to understand it from the person, and yet, you know it because the evidence in you simply recognize the truth of the ineffable, and this does not need any demonstration, conviction of any kind, either of any action. From the moment you are touched by the ineffable truth, what could you still want to say, what could the words that come out of your mouth be, except the song of resurrection and truth? Then, your words, like the brightness of your gaze, are the same evidence that emanates naturally, from your heart. There is no greater certainty. There is no greater evidence, than when you meet who you are again, beyond consciousness, and this beyond is not further or closer, but this instant, this is only the truth that you are. You have nothing to prove, see, or wait for, if it is not being, by non-being, and it is there, where eternity and the ephemeral do not want to say anything else, because there is no more balance, or anything to weigh. Evidence simply takes you to enjoy bliss, which, no joy of this world, or, any possession of any world in any way, could ever dream of living, even in the free worlds, because as soon as there is a world, and you know it, there is frame, there are references, and this is definitely not true freedom, but only the free experience of consciousness. Then, it is realized that all this has never been taken from you, because nothing can be taken away from the truth that you are. Everything has been an illusion, a game of the consciousness. Whatever the trappings, the stories, the worlds may be, even in the limitation of your consciousness in this world, this could have never been taken away. Although, you believed it, and at some point desperation and sadness touched you, you lived all this to wash your clothes, so, that you could regain your dignity, that you never lost, and realize, that where you did not need any more words, or representation. The truth of who you are does not depend on anything, nor on yourself or whoever. There, that is not a place, truth is what you are, and there is no story to tell or live, there is nothing to preach or prove. Silence. And this is happening despite of this body and your person, there is no more difference. There is no other obstacle that allows you to say that, not only everything has been fulfilled, but that this is perfection, beyond all criteria and any rule, because nothing can be measured or counted. Evidence is such, that nothing is necessary and everything is superfluous. Simply listen at every moment, like at all times, as in the quotes that I formally gave you yesterday, without a time limit or schedule of any kind, and you will soon realize that this is much more vast than what you could understand about the freedom of happiness. It is much more vast than any story, because you are the resolution and the trajectory of all history, because as we have told you, everything is already in you, eternally, you just had simply forgotten to see it and live it. Do not feel guilty or responsible, neither inside or outside, nor in any entity, because you are not only everything and every aspect of all stories, but, prior to all of this, even what may still appear today in the story of your person, on the screen of life in this world, can come from you only, regardless of whatever you may say, think, feel, or live. I cannot prove it to you, but you can certainly live it, and you already live it. There is no longer any need for testimonies or anything, you simply have to be present, in order to be everywhere, and not just be limited to the heart of hearts, but to be, effectively and concretely, in the heart of everyone, of every consciousness, as of every object, world, dimension, or multiverse. There is no need to explore anything anymore, nor there is a need to understand what this is, or what is happening, because evidence is such, that there cannot be the slightest doubt, or the slightest interrogation. Then you will be, if you are yet not already, saturated with joy and evidence, and wherever your steps take you, wherever your eyes are conducted, in whatever relationship you may be, you will pass through all distance, to concretely realize that, all this is already in you, as it has eternally been, previous to all time. Silence. No density of this world or another part will be able to touch you, or point at you in any way. The completeness will be real, as well as the evidence, and that happens as soon as your heart is installed spontaneously, in what you breathe and live. You are all life and all silence. You know that you are all presence and all absence. You just have to stay in what is revealed, without any effort, to realize that there is no place that could ever be replaced, because you are present everywhere, and each presence brings you back to the absence of everything, as well as to the ineffable joy. I even ask you not to hold on to my words or what you can understand from them. Furthermore, I ask you to go through these words, since I utter them from yourself, where there cannot be any distance, discrimination, or perception of what could be defined as outside or inside, because nothing can be separated, not even what is inside from what is outside. Indeed, what is inside is outside, just as you have conceived it, and both are simply sides of the same truth, as they are sides of evidence, joy, and silence. Silence. Then, you realize that I, your beloved and friend, am much more than that. I only am what you are, and what you are contains the wholeness and nothingness. There is no difference between you and me, because ultimately there is neither you, or me, there is no distance, and this realization can allow you to live the evidence of the unknown, because you can never understand it, therefore, enjoy it, nothing can ever interfere with it, neither a concept, a thought, or idea, there isn't the slightest difference among anything. Then, I could tell you, I am joy. Silence. Nevertheless, no word ever said can equal or approach the silence that you are, and the evidence that you live. Because every breath is an invitation to it, independently of whatever you say and what you live. Whatever you may think does not change anything, because nothing can be changed in the truth that I try to enunciate through my words, which, at the end, only serve as a rhythm to your heart, that finally breathes freedom, beyond all heart. It is then, as you already know it and live it, when naked joy takes all over, without object or subject, and above all, without cause, because indeed, you are prior to all cause, as to all conscience. There is nothing more true, because nothing can approach the only truth, and yet, evidence is simply there, without distance or delay. Silence and joy are simply there, as soon as you surrender, as I give myself to you. Then, your heart exults, without, however, altering anything, as it beats, at the same time, in harmony with the rhythm of life and silence. You may give me whichever name you want, because any name can limit or define who you are. There is no longer a need for history or whatever. This is the miracle of love. There is the miracle of the dream of creation itself, because in this rhythm of your heart, which is not the rhythm of the person, but the rhythm of eternity, you surrender to the evidence, laying down the weapons of consciousness. You can only be disarmed, by the evidence of bliss, because you cannot be anywhere else, other than where you have always been. Regardless of what the screen of your life says, you are life in each one of you, and beyond all body, as beyond all archangels and all source. This is the strict truth, which can only be enunciated through these few words, that meet again beyond my words, in your own gift. It is simple, to welcome who you are, you must surrender what you are, and even though, this is the unknown, it is known today, because it is seen and lived despite of the circumstances. Therefore, it is in silence, that the seal of freedom is reforged in what is unbreakable within your heart, which allows you to forget yourself, as I also forget, beyond every name and function, since, really, nothing has ever begun, and thus, it will never be able to conclude. This is the truth that needs neither form or experience, this is the truth of the moment. Nobody is distant from the truth, except for the distance that each projection of consciousness may have chosen to face, in the illusion of this game, or in other words, the disbelief that is put ahead, blocking you in appearance, yet, nothing can block the evidence of the truth that has always been there. All this will be consumed with the same intensity and the same joy. And this is not something that can happen, more precisely, it is only something that is rediscovered and that can never be covered in any story, or in any way whatsoever, because you are all the paths and ways. If it is not at this time, it will have been in other places as illusory, as in other worlds that can only pass, even in the bosom of freedom. Thus, if you need other words, I can give them to you. If you need to ask, I welcome your request of whatever nature, to answer you beyond the words, from your heart, whether this is your organ heart, or the heart of eternity, because nothing is missing. You cannot believe me, and you cannot follow me, you can neither adhere or reject my words or presence, because I am you, and because this does not change anything, the ineffable thing that is there. My words are not made to convince you of anything, nor even to guide you towards anything. And you live it now, whether or not you can emit any question in what has always been there. You are the answer itself, even before the question emerges. You are the Alpha and the Omega, the Alpha to the Omega, and the Omega in the Alpha. It is so that the beginning and the end come together, in the same present, going to each other in the fire of joy. Nothing can try to define you better or apprehend you to live what you are, both in being and non-being, and it all happens through the person and its character. You are love and only you can see it, whatever the appearances and sufferings of each character may be, because all appearances and sufferings can remain, in the fire of love, because this is natural and spontaneous, and that there can be no forgetting of whoever or whatever, in what you are. Then, I have nothing to teach you, but indirectly tell you what you are, were, and will be, because this happens in the same here and now. This is not tomorrow or yesterday, this is not happening in another universe or multiverse, nor in any dimension whatsoever, and you can only understand it when you live it. Then, you realize that nothing can be lacking or desired, really, nothing is necessary. So, if you need other words, if you need something else, say it without shame, or detours, so that I express myself in the center of your being, in this as in every moment, that emerges from you, where there is only evidence of abundance, abundance of love and joy. Then, you are not only my friend and my beloved, but you are much more than that, as much tempted as we are to measure, any more, or any less, because whatever word I use, as I said, there is no measure. I just have to dress up your joy, and wear the present moment, because it will never go out or away. I reveal myself to the extent that you reveal to yourself, not through a form of a teaching, but simply by being you, beyond all vision and all sensation. Because both of your eyes can be obscured by appearances, colors, or ideas, nevertheless, your heart can never be deviated, despite of any form and regardless of any appearance. At this moment, you cannot distinguish anything other than love, you cannot separate anything, because everything is included in freedom itself. Nevertheless, for pleasure, you may express what you live in this moment with your own words, if you wish. Then, let's listen. We listen to ourselves, simply for joy. If you want to say whatever you want, then say it. And if you have nothing to say, then, be satisfied with the silence, that is much more extensive than everything you can say, because there, evidence is complete and whole. Then, you, who hear me at this moment, and listen to me, beyond my words, in every moment, I invite you, with me in you, because I am nothing but you, to simply put yourself in the evidence of silence, and the fullness of joy, where even the word love, perhaps it is pronounced altered, yet, nonetheless, it is complete. You can only smile with truth that is revealed. You cannot ask yourself any more questions about the nature and experiences of naked love. You cannot reject, or exclude anything, and this is how everything is resolved, from what you might have to resolve or explain, and, as you know and I have already told you, we have every appointment in our hearts, in the heart of each one, without distinction, beyond one and the other, beyond each one, as through all world and all dreams, where no need can appear, and the slightest lack can be evoked. Then, it allows to be saturated with grace and joy, there is no obstacle, thought, or condition that can limit or oppose to this. I will reveal myself in you, as soon as you are in silence, beyond my words from this moment, and beyond my radiance, in order to leave you all space. I am nothing more than you, in another time, very close to the scale of your time in this world, yet, beyond this world where there is no time, not the least space. I am already in you, as you are in each one, here, or somewhere else. Then listen and hear what I say in you, beyond the audible words, as beyond my silences. Then accept and gather, beyond this moment, your own blessing. Silence. I leave you in the bliss of your presence and your absence, without leaving you in any way, but simply merging with you, in you, as you merge with me, in equal parts in each one, up to the infinite. Therefore, from this moment forward, you may be only joy, evidence, and silence, in everything that you travel and that runs through you, in these end of times. There is only joy that consumes everything, there is only that. That's how my words end, because silence is much greater at the moment, and I only rhythm the silence, so that the evidence fills the moment. I remain in you. Then, you may remain in joy, at the end of my words, while you feel it, in eternity. Then ABBA dances in ABBA, at this moment, that has no more end, because it never had a beginning, and such is the present moment, that it is not a passing moment, nor even a moment of time inscribed in any past, or future, but this exact instant that constitute all the times. Silence. Then, together, let the great silence rhythm your heart, because it does not need more words. Because in the future, whether your eyes are closed or open, whether you find yourself looking inside, outside, or anywhere, even if whether you see life, or what you can still call death, nothing will matter, because you will realize that you can never be born, and therefore you can never die. This is love, that is joy, that is silence. Silence. Through Jean-Luc Ayoun. Les Transformations. Transcription to French, Lora. Translation, Carlos Guinan.